What's up? Welcome in. 2 more games to go. New Year's in Detroit this weekend. What's up, Johnsy?
I feel like we've had a few New Year's in Minneapolis. Some Manny's dinners. Some Marriott, downtown Marriott beers. I remember a few of those with our good friend JD.
Yeah. Detroit, though, that's new. I don't remember being in. I associate Detroit with Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Over and over and over again.
Joe Muir's on Wednesday. A very good spread from the Lions on Thursday. And then Shake Shack. Not Shake Shack. Steak and Shake.
Yeah.
I wish it was Shake Shack.
I wish it was Shake Shack, too.
In Kalamazoo. We've had a few of those with JD as well.
Yeah. Not happening this year. I think we're, staying out by the airport. But, it's all good. It's all good.
Dearborn, Michigan for you.
Yeah. For some reason, the Steak and Shake in Kalamazoo will always be associated with Jeff Dickerson. I'm not sure if that's a fair representative. He'd probably prefer it was prisoner wine and, fine dining. But on Thanksgiving in Central Michigan, you got to do what you got to do.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
It's a matter of survive in advance, get home.
Yeah. We're going to jump into this game, Bears and Lions. Of course, Nick Baumgartner from The Athletic will join us. He covers the Lions. But, yesterday was a tough day. It was the 1-year anniversary of JD's passing. Dan Wiederer came up with a great idea of handing out our annual Jeff Dickerson Good Guy Award on the 1-year anniversary and inviting his parents there. And, for what was a tough day, I think it put smiles on a lot of people's faces. And Cole Kmet was the winner this year. Well deserving. He was, and it has been since he got here, but this was the first year that we've had open locker rooms since he got here. And, man, that guy pretty much every day is available to talk and does so with class. So it was a deserving winner and, a nice little presentation in what was otherwise a kind of a hectic, stressful day, at least for me.
Yeah, you did a very nice job there, Adam Hogue.
Thank you.
You had the JD shirt with the blazer on. Decent look. I don't know what JD would say about it, but all right.
I felt like I had to put a jacket on, up there, but maybe I didn't.
You did a nice job. What was it like sitting in the seat of Matt Eberflus?
It was a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, I feel like we've had a podium up there in the past.
Yes.
Like to stand at.
A lectern. This is like a table.
Yeah. But it was just the same, which was fine. There was not an issue, but it just kind of, you're sitting there and I don't know. It was fine.
Okay.
Everybody's watching you.
I do want to say that I thought the Bears had several good candidates for this award.
Yeah.
This award's about professionalism. It's about accessibility. It's about really just being there to talk, being accessible, being fair, being willing, being engaging. Darnell Mooney, Eddie Jackson, Jalen Johnson, a lot of good candidates this year. But Cole Kmet, I felt like he talked every single day he was in that locker room. As you said in your speech, first year with open locker room again. Before, after games, I think maybe the deciding factor for some of the voters was the Monday access, where he's sitting in your spot there at the table, where only a couple players come up. I feel like he's done that 4 or 5 times this year, which has been after losses. So I think that stands out to a lot of us in the media.
Yeah, and I think it earned some points in the locker room probably too, kind of taking the hit on days where not everybody has to talk, and don't really want to after losses. So, and I thought he gave an interesting nugget in his conversation yesterday with us that an interview that Danny Trevathan did after a loss a few years ago, something that the Bears showed the players like in a media training session, stuck with him. And, that's when he decided like, that's what I want to be and be able to do even after losses, after tough games.
He was another great player to cover.
Yeah. I always liked Danny Trevathan. There's a bunch of guys, like even in that tough stretch there, that were always professional.
Oh, another favorite of mine. I can even go back.
Right, so 2 words, Aaron Rodgers.
Hall of Fame. 2 words.
He was always entertaining, so engaging. I can even go back to your guy, your colleague now on CHGO, Corey Wooten.
Yeah.
Was always very accessible, very engaging, very willing. The memories.
Yeah, not at all shocking that he's doing
working with you
a good job with us on a weekly basis, because he was always great to talk to in that locker room. And he was there during some of those tough years with Trestman too. I don't think people realize, but Corey Wooten is like the perfect player that bridged the Lovey era and then witnessed the downfall that happened after they moved on from him. So anyway, we just wanted to quickly touch on that. And, Miss JD, I did have some prisoner wine last night for him as I watched the awesome Bulls win over the Bucks.
I am very much looking forward to a big dinner in Indianapolis at St. Elmo's with about a dozen of us, 10 or 12 of us.
Yeah.
JD spot, lots of wine in the middle of the combine. Gonna celebrate JD right there.
The Fishman already made the reservation.
I know. I
was impressed.
I woke up to it. It was his birthday yesterday too, by the way. Happy birthday, Fish.
Yeah. We should have led the show with that. Happy birthday, Kev.
So if you're listening right now, wish him a belated birthday on Twitter. He'll like that.
Yeah. All right. There's before we get to Nick, there's some interesting playoff scenarios, news with quarterbacks that I could have a trickle-down effect that affects the Bears offseason. Which one do you want to start with here?
I'm going to start with the quarterbacks because I think it's major news in the NFL when a starting quarterback of the caliber of Derek Carr, you're high on Derek Carr, you always have been, gets benched. Flat out benched. And then Derek Carr says, or reportedly says, well, see ya. I don't want to be here. And he's out. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was weird trying to follow that yesterday with everything we had going on with the Bears. I saw the benching news, and I guess it didn't really completely surprise me. This always felt like kind of a pivotal year. There's been these rumors almost every year, I feel like, recently, with like, are the Raiders sold on Derek Carr? Are they going to move on? I mean, when you say I like Derek Carr, I do. I was high on him coming out of the draft that year. I had him as my number 1 QB. I think that was 2014. That was a long time ago. But he also has never really been, in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. He would certainly be one of those guys I'd love to have if I didn't have that franchise guy. And I think for that reason, he'll be sought after in this offseason. But you do have too many moments like the end of that game last weekend. I mean, that was just a brutal interception that he threw in a crucial moment that led to that loss to the Steelers.
Better than Jay Cutler?
I would certainly prefer Derek Carr's leadership, I think.
Yeah, maybe not in like athletic ability and just raw talent. But I think Derek Carr is the better quarterback. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, if I had to pick between the two, I would pick Derek Carr. Mainly for the intangibles. It seems like his teammates like him,
Except Josh McDaniels. He didn't like either of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, Josh McDaniels, yeah.
I think what we wanted to hit on here, though, is that this is – remember when we talked about quarterback dominoes in the past?
Mm-hmm.
And the names were like the Andy Daltons, the Nick Foleses of the world. There were some bigger names in that, but the realistic expectations for the Bears. So the Bears aren't part of this veteran quarterback conversation. But a lot of those QB-needy teams that are around them in the draft could be, and they could affect trade talks. It could affect movement in the draft. Like, I would not be surprised if Houston at number 1 prefers a Derek Carr over CJ Stroud or somebody. Right? Would you be surprised if Lovie Smith got his way and got a veteran quarterback in there?
No. Do you think Lovie Smith would be worried at all about acquiring another Josh McDaniels QB cast-off?
The synergy in this podcast is the full circle moments of the NFL are pretty crazy.
That is like that's why the NFL is great. Like, what does it be? 14 years later. 14 years later, Josh McDaniels says bye to a quarterback, and Lovie Smith says hello. Be great.
Oh man, the circle of life. You need that that clip from The Lion King right now, where Simba's learning about everything. But
I watched The Lion King last week. Great.
My mother-in-law took my boys downtown to the show the other night.
Really? I was interested in going. I think it's still here for a couple more weeks. I looked up tickets. They were like $400.
Yeah, they loved it. Oh, they got spoiled. They loved it. Even just walking into the facility, talking about a football guy, walking into the theater was like, oh my gosh, look at this place. It's huge. Yeah, a moment for them.
I've seen that before, and it's a really cool show. But I think that was on the secondary market, those tickets. I think it's all sold out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But highly recommend.
But a team like Washington,
yeah,
they stand out to me. New Orleans. These are all QB needy teams that are middle of the pack, have some talent, who I think would prefer a Derek Carr over developing a rookie at this point. And that changes conversations around the league.
I think it also opens the door to potential wide receivers being available. You know, there's been, did you see that report? I don't know if that was Florio the other day, but it was like, there's buzz about Sean Payton just going back to New Orleans and bringing Tom Brady with him.
What? Well, whoever that follower of ours who listens to us and always has questions about Sean Payton, you know, he's probably is Sean Payton. He's doing his job.
Oh, yeah, that one guy's always Sean Payton. Not happening here.
Well, let me lay out another scenario for you. What if Josh McDaniels now wants to develop his young quarterback?
Yeah.
They're at 9 right now. And he calls Ryan Poles.
Could be a trade up.
Is that too far of a drop for you? 2 to 9? 2 to 8?
No, because the thing about moving farther back is you get more in return.
First, yes. How about you get that 9th overall pick, next year's Raiders pick, and Devontae Adams? Would you do it?
Well, that seems, hell yeah, I'd do that.
Okay, well,
what are you, nuts?
Maybe that's just instead of the second first-round pick, it's a second-round pick. Would you still do it?
So
for
next year?
This year's first, Devontae Adams, and next year's second-round pick. Although I could see Ryan Poles wanting this year's second-round pick.
Yeah, I think it might be this year. Yeah. Some combination of that, yes, I think is my answer. I mean, Devontae Adams is insane. Could you imagine him catching passes from Justin Fields? Someone
changed everything.
The other day I filled in on the score with Matt Spiegel, and he brought up a similar trade scenario, but it was with the Bengals, and it was you're moving.
Higgins?
What's that?
Sorry, I'm interjecting on you. I said T. Higgins.
Yes, T. Higgins. Yeah, no, that's what it was though. It was, but in that scenario, you're moving all the way back to 28. But you're getting T. Higgins. You're in that scenario, you're probably getting, not only next year's first, but
I would need a 2. I would need a throw in a 3.
Yeah,
that's a big drop.
Yeah, and obviously, I think we'll all take Devontae Adams over T. Higgins too.
But I seriously think the Raiders become part of this conversation. If they're not going to go with Derek Carr, I mean, who is it? Tom Brady? Is that it? Is that Josh McDaniels' move?
What if it's Tim Tebow?
I mean, like
Tom Brady would make sense, yeah.
I mean, that's the only one that makes sense. But
I think it's more likely he wants to get in this quarterback derby.
Okay, if you're Ryan Poles. Remember, I did that story on how the Bears traded up for Justin Fields, and one of the anecdotes I got from Ryan Pace is they circled the teams that they thought could move.
Yeah.
So if you're Ryan Poles right now and you're doing kind of the opposite, like which teams want to move up for the quarterback, you're circling the Raiders at 9 right now. 100% you are.
Let's do this real fast, like rapid fire. But teams in a quarterback derby situation where they might need change. Houston, 100%, either veteran or rookie, right? No doubt about it. Bears, okay, the Bears are set. I'm going in draft order right now. The Bears are set. They have Justin Fields. At 3, this is Denver's pick that's going to Seattle. Seattle. I mean, it's a great story with Geno Smith, but are they really going to keep? I think it's at least in the conversation
On the table.
Arizona. Arizona is interesting to me. This has been a disaster year. I think they regret paying Kyler Murray. Is there another team that might say, here's the thing we've learned, I think, in the last couple of years. Any quarterback can be moved.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be really hard to move Russell Wilson, but I'm not, even if I'm Denver, I'm not ruling that out right now. So, you know, does a different team feel like they can get more out of Kyler Murray than Arizona has? I don't know, but that could put it's something to keep an eye on for me this offseason. Indianapolis, obviously they need a quarterback
In the market.
They could maybe go after Derek Carr, although at this point they're picking so high.
They've tried that veteran quarterback route.
Yeah, I think that they got to get one of these guys in the draft.
If Jim Irsay can force Jeff Saturday upon Chris Ballard, he can force him to take a quarterback too.
Atlanta. I know they drafted Desmond Ridder, but
3rd round pick. Correct?
Yeah, right. That doesn't
say anything.
Detroit. Jared Goff's having a good year. I could see them sitting with Jared Goff.
Me too.
Depending on what they think about certain quarterbacks in the draft, maybe, but Carolina. I mean, the point is, as we go down this list, Carolina, Vegas, Houston again, Seattle again. I skipped over Philly because obviously they have Jalen Hurts. Tennessee. What's going on with Ryan Tannehill? He's done for the year. Again, they have a young quarterback in there, but Malik Willis doesn't look like he can throw.
And then you have 14 and 15, the Patriots and the Jets, which are very interesting because they also took quarterbacks last year. And one likes to argue with his coach, and one seems ready to leave town.
Mac Jones. Grayson Allen.
He's a dirty player. Yeah.
They're basically just twins. He is dirty. He did it again last week, diving at a guy's legs way after a play.
Like the one opportunity where everybody would have forgiven him to be dirty on a play. Who was it? Chandler Jones stiff-armed him into the ground?
Yeah.
Like that is your one opportunity to do whatever you want to get the guy on the ground. Don't let him score.
Yeah.
And you failed.
It's my favorite stiff arm of the season.
Behind the play, taking out guys' legs. Come on, man.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Then we go down the list. I mean, I think Pittsburgh's probably set with Kenny Pickett right now, though I'm not sold on him. How about the Packers? Let me give you a dark horse situation. What if Derek Carr is the quarterback of the Packers next year?
And Aaron Rodgers is where?
I don't know.
Somewhere in the desert doing psychedelic drugs?
Probably.
Also playing quarterback for the Raiders?
I guess I just wonder, do you think Aaron Rodgers, for as good as he is his act wearing thin up there with anyone? It's kind of like enough is enough, dude.
You know, I was talking to a friend last night, and we were talking about the Packers, and he goes, the Packers, they're not going to win it with Rodgers.
No,
they're not. Like eventually, you have to cut your losses a bit and move on. The Packers are just continuously kicking the can down the road a little bit. Are they not? Trying to win with Aaron Rodgers, trying to find the right weapons for him. They just re-signed their guard. Great move, but I don't know. That's a flawed roster.
And I get people are now this little run they're going on here late maybe increases the chances Rodgers still there. But I don't know. I'm not buying this idea that Rodgers is going to do what he did the year they won the Super Bowl to get in as the last seed and they go on this miraculous run. I just don't think. I don't think he's the same quarterback. Like if you really watched that game last week, he didn't play that well against the Dolphins. He's late on throws.
He'll still give you one of those Aaron Rodgers like throws though, occasionally.
Sure, but he doesn't have these wide receivers. I mean, I think Christian Watson's going to be good and he's becoming dangerous, but there's still times where it's like they're not on the same page.
Yeah, he's 39 years old.
Do they get in and they steal a game against the Vikings if that's who they play in the first round? Sure, that's possible. I can't see them beating the 49ers. They never beat the 49ers, first of all, in the playoffs, but I can't see that happening. No. Philly, come on. All right. Well, just some interesting talk around the league that we wanted to touch on because it could affect the Bears, especially when it comes to quarterbacks, wide receivers, and how this all trickles down. We should get into this game against the Lions, though. Nick Baumgardner, you've heard him before on this podcast, covers the Lions and the NFL draft for The Athletic, does a great job doing both, and we bring him in now. All right, let's bring in Nick Baumgardner, who covers the Lions and the draft for The Athletic. Follow him on Twitter at Nick Baumgardner. You definitely should be following him this week with the Bears-Lions, but also, you know, pretty much all winter and spring with the draft coming up as well. Nick, thanks for jumping back on with us. Always appreciate you coming on the show with us.
Absolutely, guys. How are we doing?
Very good. So Nick, we're trying to figure something out. Are the Lions not the Lions anymore? Like, what the heck is going on?
They're like sort of kind of the Lions, and maybe he's flirting with the idea of being a new brand of the Lions. Because like every time people are, you know, I think that they've graduated. Frankly, I wrote that a couple weeks ago, and I stand by that. But then every time you do that, they have a game like last week. But also last week they played a really good Carolina team, a team that's playing really well anyway right now. So I think part of it was, you know, they're still in that, like, they're not there yet. You know, they're better than I think we thought they would be at this point, but they're not there yet. And I think that Carolina game was a great indicator of just how sort of fragile the whole thing is for them right now, especially on defense, because it can go right to hell very fast, as we saw on Saturday or Sunday, whatever day that was.
Well, and I think that's what the fear is in Chicago right now with the Lions, because look, the Bears want to see, when I say Bears, the fans want to see Justin Fields play well and then lose the game because the number one pick is still in play. And they're worried that the Lions are still a Lions team. Exactly. That could,
screw this up.
Screw this up. Because other than that, there's really no reason why the Bears should win. So when you say they've graduated, have they graduated from bungling a game like this at home, where they've played better football at home?
Well, they play better in general of late, home and away. And, you know, I don't know. That's a great question, because a couple weeks ago, the game I circled on the calendar for them more than any was when they played Jacksonville, because I think Jacksonville and Detroit are kind of like peers. They're two really talented young rosters that aren't quite there yet, but they're closer than people probably think, on the average. But they played that game and they didn't measure it, and they played really well. And Jacksonville didn't play really well, but they didn't care, and they just rolled right through them in a way that we really don't see a lot from Lions teams historically. So that sort of performance has been more the norm than what we saw last week against Carolina. So I actually do think they've graduated to a point, but this is the challenge here now is that there's playoffs involved for the Lions. And this is new era for this whole group, because I think they can play clean football and do whatever they have to do and, win this game by whatever they have to win it by. But also, like, the pressure of, if you blow it, your season's over. I don't know how they've never seen that before. So I don't know how they're going to react to that. And that is the big fascination here coming into this one.
Kind of a two-part question here for you about Aiden Hutchinson. So the conversation here in Chicago is you got the second overall pick. You need pass rush help. The Lions kind of went through that last year. They got Aiden Hutchinson kind of dropped to them, if you want to say that. How has he kind of changed things? Like, how has he helped on this run? Like, how much of a difference maker has he become right away? He was very good in their first meeting, but maybe take us through like everything he's meant to the Lions this year.
So he was I look at Hutchinson a lot like I look at Sewell on the other side. Like when they drafted Penei Sewell, he was their anchor on offense. And I think Aiden Hutchinson is their anchor on defense, in that they didn't just draft him for his pass rush, and he's one of these unique-ish edges in that he's really good against the run. He's probably better against the run than he is as a pass rusher. I think similar to Trayvon Walker, actually. And I think that their ceilings as pass rushers are probably about similar in that they're going to get you effort sacks. They're going to beat average tackles. They're going to struggle against the top end ones in pass pro, but they're going to be really hard to block in the run game. So he has helped anchor, I think, their front seven in general. It hasn't been perfect. Like last week was bad, but like by and large, this last month and a half has been some of the best football he's played, especially against the run. He's really hard to block. He's never out of a play. And that effort that he plays with is aided by really high level athleticism. I think that's the thing that people lost track on. So he's a great fit. Campbell loves him. He loves Campbell and Aaron Glenn. It's a great fit for the mindset and just how they want to play football. And I think when I look at the Bears right now, I know that on The Athletic, we just did that mock draft, Adam, and like, I don't know, did you guys take Carter?
I took Carter.
Yeah, like that to me is like, that's kind of like, I like that because that's it gives you a little bit of both. You need help against the run, you need help against the pass rush, and the biggest thing with Hutchinson is they never have to take him off the field, and that's a big deal, I think, in today's NFL especially.
Okay, we were just talking about quarterbacks across the league in the wake of the Derek Carr news, and just kind of how this might shake everything up this offseason and the impact it could potentially have on the Bears with where they're picking and just the dominoes that always fall. Where's the belief in Jared Goff right now in Detroit, especially with the Lions? They're going to have another high pick, and I mean, he's having a good year. Personally, we've talked about this. I think he should be in the Pro Bowl instead of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we said the same thing, or at least it should be a conversation. I think Goff has answered the question about whether or not he can be the Lions' bridge quarterback to whatever that next step is, and I think that has meant that he's probably bought back next season. He has that. They reworked the deal anyway, but like that was sort of in question when the year started. He needed to play probably the best football of his life to sort of advance on, and I think he's done that. I think he has not been the reason why they've lost games. He has been the reason sometimes that they've stayed in some of the games, and he's what they need right now. And like, I don't think they're ready for more yet. So I don't think they're ready for, the superstar, it'd be nice, obviously, but like for right now and the here and now, he meshes well with the locker room. They've grown around him, and he's grown. I think his toughness has grown. I think Campbell has worn off on him. Guys, when they traded Hockenson, like he was pissed. He was really not happy, and they challenged him to go do something about it. And he answered the bell by playing some of his best ball. And I think he's really grown up a lot. So I like where he's at, but it's still like last week was still another example of that, though. Like he can't save you if everything else goes, like Fields can save a team. If everything is going to hell, he can still do what needs to get done and fix it. Goff is never going to be that guy. And that's the reality right now with him, I think, for Detroit.
So they're 18 right now in the draft order, the 18th pick.
Yeah, and then they have the Rams pick. So they're
that's right. Yes,
7
yes.
and 18.
I forgot about my fault. Yes. So 7 and 18. Like
7 and 18.
Are
Pretty
they?
good.
Yeah. Would you consider them? You mentioned bridge quarterback for Goff.
Yeah.
Are they in the
I
QB
wouldn't
market in the draft?
I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out. I think that Goff has certainly, bought his way into being the starter when next season starts, whatever the situation is. But the Lions need to take a quarterback this year somewhere. They don't have a backup, at all. So bottom line is, draft a young quarterback that you like and start developing him for the future. But if that, if you have a chance, if they love Bryce Young, or Stroud, then they have the assets to go do that. And that has been something that we've talked about since the year started. And I think that Goff has played well, and that has certainly probably changed the math some, but I don't think it's outlawed or totally eliminated them from the idea of, let's go get our guy.
I think the timing matters too, because they're fortunate to have this Rams pick. If they're going to be
if
this,
you can do it now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to be picking in the top 10 a year.
You
better not.
Right.
You better not be.
You don't want to be. Yeah.
You don't. Yeah, you'll be fired if you are.
Yeah. Right. So, I feel like they passed on the opportunity to get Justin Fields a couple years ago. They I understandably in last year's draft they didn't have a great quarterback.
Right.
Went with the obvious pass rusher. No complaints there. But this is supposed to be a better quarterback draft. I just feel like at some point you got to strike, especially with having 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, I think right now is the time to do it. Like, I think that if they're not out of Friday with one, then I would be like, what are you doing? Like that, that would kind of be that's what I've kind of thought. Like, doesn't have to be in the first round. And they're kind of in that spot where they could sit at 18. And if guys fall, like they could just sit there and maybe they want to get ahead of the game on like Anthony Richardson or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's something I've thought about for them, but that has to be part of the concept or the idea or the plan, I think, going into the weekend.
Nick, you have an article. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead, Johns.
Nick, you got an article up right now in The Athletic kind of breaking down the film of Michigan, TCU.
Yeah.
You know them better than we do. Like, who are you watching this weekend? Like, who are your top draft prospects, not only in that game, but Ohio State and Georgia too?
Yeah, there's a lot in the Ohio State-Georgia game. For Bears fans, especially, Georgia's defense – Carter, number one, obviously, and just in general, I think how Ohio State's offensive line handles him. Paris Johnson is going to be a high draft pick in this draft. DeJuan Jones is going to be a high draft pick in this, probably a day 2. Maybe he sneaks into day 1. How those guys handle the speed. Luke Whippler is a center at Ohio State, a young player that I like a lot. So they've got some nice players up there. But really, it's a lot of those Georgia defensive backs like Chris Smith, who's a really good safety, and see how those guys kind of match up athletically. In the Michigan TCU game, the one guy that I can't shake is Duggan, Max Duggan. Like, I don't know what to do with him. like we actually talked about him. Yeah, Quentin Johnson, TCU. Kent brought him up. Obviously, he's a top 10. He's probably their best guy. But Duggan is the guy that we actually did a breakdown thing. Dane and Nate and Deontay and I. And Chris, after I think the Big 12 game, what do you make of him? And it was just I have no idea, but he could probably bring value somewhere because he's just a really hard-nosed guy. But I don't know. It should be 2 good games. I'm interested to see it. It's not like last year. There's not one overloaded. Georgia's not just dripping with talent the way it was. It's still pretty loaded though. So I guess we'll see how it goes.
I like Michigan not only to win but to cover. Am I crazy?
No, I like that. I think that game goes one of 2 ways. Michigan either grinds them up and just sort of spits them out, or it turns into a shootout. And I think the first one is probably more likely, that Michigan probably just wears them out over time.
I saw J.J. McCarthy play in high school.
Yeah, he's from the area. That's right.
Yeah,
he's special.
He played against my high school, and it was a close game. I want to say until the third quarter, where he just unleashed this 50-yard dime down the right sideline. And it wasn't the trajectory wasn't high. It was like a rope.
He has
down the right side.
Yeah, he's got top 5 arm talent for sure.
Yes, but next year's
he's a sophomore.
2024 draft.
Next year's quarterback class is a whopper with May and him and Caleb Williams. Well, McCarthy's not even at the top of that. Those other guys are ahead of him, but it's going to be really good.
So what have you made of McCarthy's success this year?
It's been good. I think his first road start was at Iowa, and they won without really any trouble. And I mean, that is not easy to do. You guys are Big Ten guys. That's not easy to do. He has been really steady. Harbaugh keeps claiming that he reminds him of himself, which I think is hilarious because, I think that Cade McNamara reminds me more of Jim Harbaugh, but whatever.
When has Jim Harbaugh ever done meditation on the field?
I guess what I said. I've never seen Jim Harbaugh meditate or do yoga, but whatever. I would say, hey, Jim was an old first rounder himself. He can say whatever he wants, I guess. But the drive or whatever, I think that's where he gets at. He loves the game. He really loves football, and I think that comes across more than anything. And to play for, if you play for Jim Harbaugh, you better love football, buddy, because you're not going to be able to live, I suppose, if otherwise. So it's been cool to see. But he's a really, really talented kid who's grown up a ton in a year and a half, because he probably should have started last season as a freshman, but he was nowhere near ready. I think it surprised him a bit, but this year he is really taken off.
Be fun to watch. I like both these games on Saturday. And the Alabama game will be interesting too from an NFL draft standpoint, assuming those guys play the whole game.
Still, that's the one. It's you never know. I think a lot of those guys say they'll play every year and then they don't. And now they can actually probably get paid legally to play in the bowl game. So I suppose Alabama should. Most of their guys, I would assume, will play. That'll be a nice test for Anderson and those guys if they go. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Nick, we appreciate it. We'll be looking forward to this game on Sunday. I think, I think it'll be an entertaining football game. Yeah, like a lot of these.
Never boring.
Yeah. So
Lions Bears is always entertaining. I will say, I'm never bored by it. I always like it.
Is Dan Campbell a good coach?
I think so. I think he's getting there. I think he's getting there. I think he's learning how to be. I think he has the stuff to be a good coach, and I think he's learning how to be a good coach. I like a lot of what he does. You know what I mean? I think a lot of that you see that comes across is pretty genuine, and that's pretty much what you hear across the board. So I think he's getting there, but still a lot to prove.
I like him.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
He entertains me, so I like
hard
him.
To dislike MCDC there.
All right, Nick Baumgartner. Make sure you're following him on Twitter at Nick Baumgartner, covering the Lions and the NFL draft. I'm sure we'll have you on the pod again soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Nick.
You bet, guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Hey, guys, you know that shaving is not fun. It's always a pain. But that's why you got to meet Henson Shaving. Henson Shaving is a family-owned aerospace parts manufacturer that has made parts for the ISS, Mars rover, and now they are bringing precision engineering to your shaving experience. By the way, ISS, International Space Station. Pretty cool stuff. Because razor blades are like diving boards, actually. The longer the board, the more wobble. The more wobble, the more nicks, cuts, scrapes you get. Bad shave isn't a blade problem. It's an extension problem. So by using aerospace grade CNC machines, Henson makes metal razors that extend just enough, less than the thickness of a human hair. That means a secure and stable blade with a vibration-free shave. And it gets better. The razor has built-in channels to evacuate hair and cream, which makes clogging virtually impossible. Seriously, Henson Shaving wants the best razor, not the best razor business. That means no plastic, no subscriptions, no proprietary blades, no planned obsolescence. The Henson razor works with standard dual-edge blades to give you that old-school shave with the benefits of new-school tech. Once you own a Henson razor, it's only about $3 to $5 per year to replace the blade. Seriously. All right, I'm going to be honest with you. I am not a big fan of razor blades. I typically use the electric way to go about this, but Henson Shaving, you're going to want to check it out. The blades are great, but also the weighted handle is a huge difference maker as well. I really like it. It's time to say no to subscriptions and yes to a razor that'll last you a lifetime. Visit hensonshaving.com/Adam to pick the razor for you. Use code Adam. You'll get 2 years worth of blades free with your razor. Just make sure to add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to hensonshaving.com/Adam, hensonshaving.com/Adam. Use code Adam. Hey, if you're like me, you're getting a lot of packages at your door every day right now with the holidays, but when the Omaha Steaks box arrives, there's nothing better. Give the best with the best steaks of your life from Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher since 1917. Perfectly aged, tender, unforgettable, and guaranteed delicious. The steak experts at Omaha Steaks have put together an assortment of various packages to make shopping for the ones you love nice and easy. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use code Adam at checkout to get an additional $30 off your order. Send an assortment of mouth-watering favorites guaranteed to impress, like the legendary Butcher's Cut Filet Mignon, air-chilled boneless chicken, ultra juicy burgers, and even easy to prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. Omaha Steaks is ready to ship your order right away. Head to omahasteaks.com. Use promo code Adam at checkout. Omaha Steaks is a gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Order with complete confidence today, knowing you're ordering the very best. Visit omahasteaks.com. Use promo code Adam. I'm telling you, when that box arrives, you see that meat that comes in there, you are going to be excited to throw it on the grill right away. I love it every time it shows up. Use promo code ADAM at checkout to get that extra $30 off your order. All right, John Z, time for 3 big questions. What do you got?
All right, Adam Hogue, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how sold are you on the Lions no longer being the Lions as we've come to know them on this podcast? My answer? Go ahead.
Yeah, am I copping out if I say 5?
No, I would say 5. I want to see one more year of it.
Well, it's also not, they're not really leaving us a great taste with their performance last week.
No.
And I'm not that nervous about the Bears pulling out an accidental win this week as some others are, but I get it because they are the Lions, and this is a game the Lions would lose.
Would Lions up.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for an over-under on that. Number 2. Who is playing for their current team in the 2024 season? 2024, not 2023, 2024.
Okay.
Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, or all of the above?
It's a great question. Well, I think Jared Goff is at least on the team in Detroit.
In 2024, 2 years from now.
Oh, 2024.
Not 2023.
Yeah.
2024.
Well, Jesus, I should have done more prep on this. Got to look at contract situations and stuff.
But like as we alluded to earlier in this podcast, sometimes it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They get moved.
So Goff is signed through 2024, but there's an out starting.
So is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say no on Rodgers. No on Cousins. Man. I'm going to say yes on Goff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think about that. It's a lot of change coming to the NFC North at the most important position in sports.
That is.
It's older quarterbacks. Contracts are up. And Kirk Cousins only has 1 year remaining on his contract. It's a new team. Like I could see him like getting maybe one more year added to it after this year, maybe 2024, but maybe with little guarantees.
You know, a couple weeks ago, we had Nick Wright on CHGO, and I said something like, well, the Bears probably have like the best quarterback situation in the NFC North right now, right? And he was like, I don't even think it's a question. Hell yeah, they do. Like, it's not even close. And that's just interesting to me that it's like that obvious.
You, Aaron Rodgers.
Speaking of that quarterback, general question here. Adam Hogue, what do you want to see from Justin Fields over the final 2 games?
Man, just steady progress, like not a clunker. I think if you really look at the tape the last couple weeks, maybe some of these bad habits have come back a little bit. There's been a few more passes that are inaccurate. I also think, at times you've seen the footwork on those horizontal throws to the sideline get astray. But the weather, I kind of give him a pass for last week with the weather. And the guys he's throwing to right now, the offensive line being banged up. And here's the thing, to me, the most important thing, even as I say all that, when I got done grading the tape, he still was playing at a long-term starter level. So, okay, great. That's a win. Given the circumstances, given the weather, all that, it's not going to be perfect. And you're still basically, honestly, since, if you really want to go far back, the Vikings game, starting from week 5 on, he had that huge peak in the middle, Dolphins, Cowboys, Lions. But really from week 5 on, he has been very, very consistently playing at least a long-term starter level for the Bears. And that's all. I just want him to finish at that level.
I want to see him take a few more risks, like take some shots with your anticipation. You may not trust Velus Jones Jr. completely, but you know what? If you see him in his breaks, throw that out hard.
Yeah.
Trust him to make that catch. Take a few risks that way, because I think you might have to take a few of them because of who you're actually playing with.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring that up real quick because, you know, we record these on Thursday mornings, which is a little early with the injury report, but, you know, not seeing Claypool practice yesterday wasn't a great sign. EQ still not practicing. Dante Pettis was on the injury report yesterday with an ankle, and he was limping around the locker room, Johns.
Not good.
I'm like, and I don't know the specifics of that. I don't know if Eberflus will provide some clarity on that, but maybe that's something that happened in practice. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not sure they're going to have Pettis this weekend either. So that is, you're going N'Keal Harry and Velus Jones. And also that's significant from a punt return standpoint too. Velus Jones get another crack at punt returning.
Well, give it to him though. Like if you're experimenting with guys in different positions across the board, which Matt Eberflus said on Wednesday,
I agree.
Then give the rookie another shot.
Yeah.
All right, let's get through these over and unders real quick. This is from Chris. Over under on mispronounced names on the broadcast. 3.5. I'm going under.
Who's doing the broadcast this week? I don't even know. I'll go under. There'll be a couple. There's usually one or two.
Yeah. This is from Cade. Over and under the number of times the Lions make a typical Lions mistake. But the Bears still lose. 3.5. I'm going to go over. You'll get like the four moments. You're like, oh, yeah, that's Lions football for you.
Yeah, I'll go over with you too. They are the Lions. The Lions are the Lions.
But they still win. This is from Billy. Over under on St. Brown Brothers references. 1.5. I'm going over.
Yeah, it'll still be over, but it might not be super high if EQ's not playing.
Yeah, you'll still get 2. This is from Drew. References to playing for the first pick of the draft, setting it at 2.5. I'm going to go under.
Playing for the first pick of the draft. 2.5. Yeah, I'm going to go under 2. I mean, I think it comes up, but that's kind of high.
All right. This is from Brian. Over under on drops by receivers on third down. 1.5. I'm going to go with 1. You're going to get one bad one, as always.
Yeah, did tight ends count?
Yeah.
The running backs count? Like anybody dropping the ball on third down? I'm going to go over.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the Bears this year.
Yep, for sure. All right.
Bold predictions.
Last week's bold prediction, the guy didn't even play. He went on IR. So that wasn't good.
No. Well, you were bold.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the well here, though. Someone's got to catch a touchdown at some point. So I'm going to do it. You're not doing it. I'm doing it. Cole Kmet, touchdown.
Okay. I did have that bold prediction in a column for The Athletic where I said he would win you your fantasy championship, and this would be the week.
Wow.
This is the week.
Well, all apologies to Cole Kmet, but I actually dropped him. Well, because I have TJ Hawkinson and ended up with Darren Waller on my team. I needed the, yeah. So we won't talk about how my 2 running backs are Derrick Henry and Tony Pollard. And after all this, I'm going to lose in the championship because I don't think either one's playing tonight. Great. Congrats. All right, let's quickly fire through these predictions, and then we'll wrap things up here. So you going
My bold prediction is a Jalen Johnson interception, and the Bears are going to cover. Let's go 24-20 Lions over the Bears.
Wow, close.
Close.
Low scoring.
Low
Kind
scoring.
of.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I could sort of see that, but I don't know, with the fast track playing back inside, I'm going to go honestly with a similar, it might even be the same prediction I had last week, but I'm going to go Lions 30, Bears 20.
Okay. Oh, Lions cover.
And I got the Lions covering too. I just think the Bears, you saw those running lanes that the Bills had last week. They're just defensively, there's not much happening up front.
Let me adjust my score. 28-24 Lions over the Bears.
Okay. A few extra points.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get through some other games too. CBS noon, Jaguars at Texans. The Texans are 4.5-point underdog. Of course, we're picking this one because it has ramifications on the number 1 overall pick.
Sorry, everybody. Trevor Lawrence is playing pretty well, and he's going to continue to do that against Lovie Smith. I got the Jaguars winning by a touchdown.
Texans are playing well too, though. I think this is a tricky spot. Jaguars, Texans has already beat the Jaguars this year. So I think this one remains close. I'm taking the Texans to cover, but the Jaguars win.
And that's the facts. That's 100% truth.
Fox 305 49ers at Raiders. And this is, I'm assuming this is moved a little bit with the Derek Carr news.
Yeah. Well, it's still a 10.
Yeah.
Home dog getting 10 points. But I like the 49ers in a route here. We put them here. We put this game on the schedule because of the Derek Carr conversation. But I like what the 49ers got going. They're like my favorite team right now. Like, that's my NFC champion, I think, right now.
Well, I was looking through their schedule, and like defensively, I don't think they've given up 17 points like since week 5 or something.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So without Derek Carr out there, Jared Stidham's playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the 49ers. I think that's an easy one.
What question are you asking me?
All right, Fox 305, Jets at Seahawks. Seahawks, a 1.5-point home underdog here.
Give me the Seahawks.
Mike White's back, right?
Yep.
Jets are reeling. All right, I guess I'm believing in Mike White. I'm gonna go with the Jets.
Oof.
Yeah. By the way, we both went 2-4 last week.
Not good.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing? This is Nick Foles. Just entered the meeting.
CBS 325, Vikings at Packers. Packers are a 3.5-point home favorite over the Vikings. It's getting a lot out of hand, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just I'm gonna take the Vikings. Something about them this year. They're not going to win it all. They just got that magic in them. You know, like every year there's a team like this that just has a lot of close victories, and that's the Vikings this year. I like them doing it again.
Well, even if they lose, I feel like this has to be on, a field goal or less. Like all their games have been coming down. Although I guess when they do lose, they lose by it's not close.
No.
That's the difference. But I'm just not really a believer in what the Packers are doing right now. I know it's been great, but it's really the defense is okay, but the offense is. I've seen Rodgers play a lot better. All right, and then Monday night. This is a great Monday night game for this late in the season. 7:30 on ESPN. Is that 7:30? It's usually 7:15. Bills at Bengals. Bengals are a 1-point home dog to the Bengals.
I'm going Bengals.
Yeah.
Something about Joe Burrow and these matchups against other young special elite quarterbacks, like makes you side with Burrow. If he could take out Patrick Mahomes, I like what he could do against Josh Allen.
Yeah. I got to be honest. I think Burrow's been playing better than Josh Allen recently.
Yeah.
So at home, big game, number 1 seed on the line here. I like the Bengals.
Me too.
Especially with them getting an extra point. So, all right. Well, we got to get out of here. We appreciate it. Bears, Lions. I think it's an entertaining game. the Lions entertain me. So, and Justin Fields is out there. So that it's still a Justin Fields Sunday, and we'll be there to cover it and wrap it all up for you post game as well. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hogue, at Adam Johns. You can read Johnsy on The Athletic, theathletic.com/Hogan Johns. You can read me, allchgo.com. Check out the merch, obviousshirts.com, and we'll be back post game. Make sure you hit the notifications if you watch on YouTube so you know when we go live after the game. Talk to you on Sunday.
Happy New Year. See ya.